Welcome to the internet's weirdest questions, answered. For the next 60 minutes, we'll tackle the strangest late-night Google searches, from "Can you sneeze in your sleep?" to "What happens if you swallow a Lego?" Each mystery gets a science-backed solution you can drop at your next party. Grab a snack, smash that subscribe, and type your own weirdest question in the comments. It might star in the sequel. Ready? Let's start with fish and thirst. Question 1. Can a fish get thirsty? Technically, no. Thirst is the brain's response to high blood salt levels. Freshwater fish constantly absorb water osmotically through their skin and gills, so they pee it out all day and never feel dry. Saltwater fish lose water the opposite way. They drink seawater and pump excess salt through specialized chloride cells. Bonus twist: a few desert killifish survive temporary droughts by entering suspended animation in dry mud. No drinking for months, so fish manage hydration without feeling what mammals call thirst. Question 2. What would happen if Earth suddenly stopped spinning? If the planet's 1/600 kilometers per h rotation halted in a split second, everything not bedrock bolted would fly eastward. Oceans, buildings, people, like a planetary car crash. Supersonic winds would scour continents. Tsunamis kilometers high would race around the globe. Within hours, our 24-hour day would stretch to a year-long day-night cycle. 6 months of scorching sun, 6 months of darkness. Thankfully, physics says you'd need an unimaginable external torque, like another planet colliding, to stop Earth, so your morning coffee is safe from rotational apocalypse. Question 3. Can you sneeze in your sleep? Unlikely. During REM deep sleep, the brainstem dampens the reflex pathways that trigger a sneeze and paralyzes most skeletal muscles. Even if dust irritates your nose, signals rarely reach the sneeze center. You might wake, sneeze, then fall back. But true unconscious sneezes are virtually undocumented, so your brain literally turns off the sneeze button at night. Question 4. What happens if I swallow a Lego? Pediatric studies say a single 8-stud Lego brick, about 1 cubic centimeter, usually passes through an adult in 1-3 days without harm. Doctors invented the foreign body ingestion score, yes, the fart score, to track exit time. Exceptions: sharp Lego wheels, dual bricks stuck together, or kids under 3 may need an X-ray. Morale: keep bricks on the build plate, not the dinner plate. Question 5. Why do cats knead like tiny bakers? Kittens need mother cats to massage milk flow. Adult cats keep the motion as a self-soothing behavior and territory marker. Scent glands in their paws perfume your lap. MRI studies show kneading spikes feline serotonin, the happy neurotransmitter. Translation: your cat is baking biscuits because it's blissed out and claiming you as furniture. Question 6. Could we see the Great Wall of China from space? With the naked eye from low Earth orbit, approximately 400 km, astronauts say the Great Wall is barely visible under perfect lighting, less distinct than city roads. At moon distance, it vanishes. But city lights, airports, and Egyptian pyramids lit by sunlight stand out more, so the famous claim is mostly myth. Question 7. Why does urine sometimes glow in the dark under UV light? Riboflavin, vitamin B2, fluoresces bright yellow-green when excited by ultraviolet light. Energy drinks and B-complex pills load urine with riboflavin, turning restroom blacklight parties into neon shows. Not harmful, just a rave reflection of your supplement routine. Question 8. Is it true we only use 10% of our brain? No. fMRI scans prove nearly all brain regions show activity over a regular day. The 10% myth began in 1890s misquotes of psychologist William James. Modern neuroscience shows even simple tasks recruit networks across cortex, cerebellum, and limbic system. You're using 100%, just not all at once. Question 9. If ants were human-sized, could they lift cars? Ants can carry 1050x their weight due to scaling laws. Strength scales with muscle cross-section, length 2, while mass scales with volume, length 3. Upscale an ant to human size and mass rises faster than muscle area. Its exoskeleton would collapse. So a human-sized ant becomes a weak, suffocating giant. Car-lifting insects live only in sci-fi. Question 10. Can you really start a fire with ice? Yes, if you carve clear ice into a convex lens. Sunlight focuses through it onto tinder, raising temperature past 200 degrees Celsius. Survival experts use lake ice sculpted with a knife, then polished with bare hands. Works best in sub-zero, low-humidity sunshine. So yes, you can burn wood with frozen water. Question 11. Why is the sky blue but sunsets orange? Sunlight hits air molecules and scatters shortest wavelengths, violet and blue, in all directions, filling daytime sky with blue glow. At sunset, sunlight enters at a shallower angle and plows through 30-40 times more atmosphere. Blue and green photons scatter out first, leaving longer reds and oranges to bounce into your eyes. Extra twist: after volcanic eruptions, sky dust intensifies reds for weeks. Mars' thin, dusty air does the opposite, giving the red planet a pale pink sky by day and blue sunsets. So color depends on path length and particle soup in the air. Question 12. What if you drilled a hole through Earth and jumped in? Ignoring molten rock, friction, and lethal pressure, physics says you'd oscillate. Gravity pulls strongest near the surface. Halfway down, you're in freefall 0G. You'd accelerate to 28,000 kmh at the core, decelerate up the other side, and pop out the far surface after approximately 42 minutes, then fall back again, like a giant pendulum. Air resistance would eventually settle you at Earth's center, weightless but broiled at 6000 degrees C. Short answer: it's a yo-yo ride you wouldn't survive, but the math is beautiful. Question 13. Do spiders really crawl into our mouths while we sleep? No credible study supports 8 spiders a year. Spiders avoid warm, noisy, vibrating cavities, exactly what a snoring mouth is. Mythbusters left open mouths in dark rooms with spiders. None wandered in. The rumor began as a 1990s chain email proving people will believe anything online. You swallow more pillow lint than spiders. Sleep tight. Question 14. Why does pineapple make my tongue tingle? Pineapple contains bromelain, an enzyme that snips proteins, the same chemical chefs use to tenderize meat. When you bite fresh pineapple, bromelain starts digesting your tongue's surface proteins, causing a mild tingling burn. Your saliva quickly dilutes it, and the cells regenerate, which is why the sting fades. Canning heats bromelain inactive, so canned pineapple feels smooth. You can neutralize the bite by briefly grilling or soaking slices in salt water. Question 15. Can you really sign your name on a grain of rice? Yes. Grain of rice art began in ancient Anatolia as a charm for prosperity. Modern micro-calligraphers use sable brushes with a single hair, ink with egg whites, and microscope lenses. The tightest verified lettering is 12 characters on 6 mm rice, readable at 40x magnification. Steady heartbeat? Artists time strokes between pulses to prevent jitter. So minuscule handwriting is real, but takes Zen-level patience. Question 16. How many times does Big Ben chime in a day? Big Ben, the bell in London's Elizabeth Tower, strikes the hour number, 1 at 1 a.m., 2 at 2 a.m., etc., totaling 156 hourly bongs daily. Add the Westminster quarter chimes, 4 notes every 15 minutes, and you get 1056 quarter notes plus 156 bongs, equal sign 1,212 individual strikes per day, assuming maintenance crews aren't cleaning mechanisms. Enough sound energy daily to boil 8 liters of water if perfectly captured. Question 17. Why do goldfish forget things in 3 seconds? They don't. Goldfish can learn mazes, recognize feeding times weeks later, and even tell composers apart, favoring Bach over Stravinsky in one study. The 3-second myth likely arose from carnival vendors excusing cramped bowls. Neurologists measure goldfish memory at least 1 month. In the wild, carp relatives remember predator locations for seasons, so aquarium fish have better retention than many internet rumors. Question 18. Could a supervolcano eruption trigger a new ice age? Yes, but mini ice age. A mega eruption like Toba 74000 years ago blasted 800 cubic kilometers of ash, injecting sulfate aerosols that reflected sunlight and cooled Earth by up to 4 degrees Celsius for a decade. Crops would fail globally, skies dim blood red. Ice sheets need centuries, but harvest-killing chill can persist years. Climate models show Yellowstone-sized blasts drop average temps 1 to 2 degrees Celsius for 3 to 5 years, enough to rewrite history books. Question 19. Do dolphins really have names? Wild dolphins invent unique signature whistles within months of birth. Pod members mimic each other's whistle only when calling that individual, essentially vocal name tags. Lab playback tests show a dolphin responds more strongly to its recorded whistle than to others. So yes, bottlenose dolphins call each other by name, one of the few non-human species with identified words for individuals. Question 20. What happens if you put a strong magnet near your phone? Modern smartphones store data on flash memory immune to magnetic fields. A neodymium magnet can't wipe photos or contacts, but it can spoof compass sensors, scramble speaker output, or trigger flip-case hall switches. Wireless chargers already house coils stronger than fridge magnets without harm. So your selfies are safe, your compass may spin briefly off north. Question 21. Why does my voice sound weird on recordings? When you speak, you hear 2 sound roots, air-conducted vibrations leaving your mouth and bone-conducted vibrations resonating through skull bones directly to your inner ear. Bone conduction boosts low frequencies, making your voice seem richer to you. A microphone captures only the air channel, so playback lacks that bassy resonance, revealing a thinner version unfamiliar to your brain's self-identity map. MRI studies show the auditory cortex flags this mismatch, triggering cringe. Singers train by monitoring in-ear feeds that bypass bone conduction to recalibrate self-perception. Question 22. Is space really silent? Sound needs a medium. Interplanetary space averages 1 hydrogen atom per cubic centimeter, too sparse for pressure waves. But space isn't mute everywhere. Dense nebulae can carry infrasound at 10,000 Gs, far below human hearing. NASA's space sounds are frequency-shifted plasma wave data, not audible vibrations. Inside ISS, air fans make a steady 55 dB hum, quieter than an office. So comic book explosions in space would be seen, not heard, unless you are inside a pressurized suit transmitting vibration to your eardrum. Question 23. Can plants hear music? Plants lack ears, yet detect vibration via mechanoreceptor proteins. Experiments with Arabidopsis showed genes linked to drought resistance activated after 10 to 200 Hz tones. Wine vineyards play classical music. Grapes near speakers form thicker skin, possibly from low-frequency mechanical stress. However, meta-analyses find growth changes small and species-specific. The most consistent boost comes from sound that mimics wind, forcing sturdier stalks. Your fiddle leaf fig isn't secretly enjoying Mozart, but its cells do register the beat. Question 24. Why do we hiccup? Hiccups are sudden diaphragm spasms followed by glottis closure, producing the hike sound. They're evolutionary leftovers. Amphibian tadpoles use a near-identical reflex to gulp water past gills while blocking lungs. In humans, irritation from rapid eating, carbonation, or sudden temperature shifts triggers vagus phrenic nerve loops. Record chronic case, 68 years, Charles Osborne. Cures that work. Breathing into a bag raises blood CO2, dampening the reflex, or swallowing granulated sugar overloads vagus endings. Scaring works only via placebo distraction. Question 25. Can a tick bite make you allergic to meat? Yes, the Lone Star tick carries the agal carbohydrate. When its saliva enters blood, some immune systems create IgE antibodies that later treat mammalian meat, also rich in agal, as a threat, triggering hives or anaphylaxis hours after a steak. Known as alpha-gal syndrome, cases rose 400% in U.S. Southeast since 2010. Poultry and fish lack agal, so sufferers pivot diets toward chicken and salmon. Good news, antibody levels often wane after tick avoidance for years. Question 26. Why don't pigeons crash mid-flight in busy flocks? Pigeons run on a simple collision avoidance algorithm. Give way right. High-speed camera arrays show 84% of head-on pigeons veer right, 100% adjust altitude by at least 20 centimeters, producing three-dimensional lanes. Neural network models replicate zero-crash traffic with only that rule. Similar lateralization exists in schools of fish, prefer left. Human air traffic rules mimic birds. Aircraft on reciprocal headings both turn right. Nature beta tested our skies first. Question 27. Why can we smell rain before it starts? Earthy petrichor scent comes from geosmin released by soil bacteria. Incoming thunderstorm downdrafts smash against dry ground, ejecting aerosols of geosmin into air minutes before the first drops. Ozone produced by lightning adds a sweet chlorine tang. Human noses detect geosmin at 5 parts per trillion, keener than sharks to blood. So your nostrils forecast rain better than some apps. Question 28. Would a penny dropped from a skyscraper kill someone? Terminal velocity for a flat copper penny is about 40-50 m/s due to drag. Kinetic energy equals a fast-pitched baseball, painful, but skulls withstand 1000 J impacts. The penny delivers approximately 2 J Mythbusters fired pennies at 80 mms. Left bruises, not death. Real hazard, bolts, wrenches, ice chunks, denser and aerodynamic. But that penny could put a tiny dent in a taxi roof. Question 29. Why do onions make us cry? Cutting onion cells releases a lioness enzyme, which converts sulfoxides into syn-propanethyl S-oxide, a volatile lacrimator gas. It diffuses to eyes, dissolves into sulfuric acid in tear film, stimulating trigeminal nerves. Refrigerating onions slows enzyme kinetics. Carbide knives crush fewer cells. Gene-edited tearless onions silence the lacrimatory factor synthesis, but critics say they taste milder. so tears are chemistry's defense against veggie vapor. Question 30. Can lightning strike the same place twice? Absolutely. Lightning rods on skyscrapers channel dozens of hits yearly. Toronto's CN Tower averages 75 strikes. Storm clouds form charge pathways. Tallest conductive object completes the circuit repeatedly. Empire State Building staff have photographed triple strikes within 1 minute. So that proverb is meteorologically false. Lightning loves a good target. Question 31. Can some people taste words or see sounds? Yes, synesthesia. About 4% of people experience cross-wired sensory responses. Grapheme color, letters evoke colors. Lexical gustatory, words trigger tastes. Chromesthesia, sounds birth colors. fMRI shows extra connectivity between sensory cortices. One famous subject tastes sausage when hearing the name Derek. Condition is stable, involuntary, and often enhances memory. Scientists study it to map sensory integration. Question 32. Why can't we tickle ourselves? Tickling relies on surprise. The cerebellum predicts sensations caused by your own movement and dampens somatosensory cortex response. MRI shows 90% reduction in somatosensory firing when you self-tickle versus identical external touch. Robots delivering delayed self-touch, 300 ms, can trick the brain into laughter by breaking prediction timing. Tickle hack accomplished. Question 33. Could humans ever hibernate? True hibernation lowers body temp near ambient. Larger mammals, bears, drop only a few degrees, but heart rate falls to 8 BPM. Experiments with hydrogen sulfide gas in mice induced reversible torpor. NASA funds studies for long-haul spaceflight. Human trials limited to therapeutic hypothermia, 32 degrees Celsius, post-cardiac arrest for days. Genomics show we share hibernation-linked proteins. Unlocking them may one day enable months-long metabolic suspension, but we're decades away. Question 34. Does cracking knuckles cause arthritis? Studies tracking habitual knuckle crackers over 50 years show no increased arthritis risk. The pop comes from cavitation. Rapid pressure drop forms, nitrogen bubbles in synovial fluid. They collapse, emitting the crack. Ligament laxity may rise, causing grip weakness, but joints stay healthy. One physician cracked only his left hand for 60 years, no difference found. So crack away, just don't annoy people. Question 35. Why do dogs tilt their heads? Head tilts expand the field of one ear while letting dogs gauge sound source elevation. Research with 300 canines found tilt frequency spikes when hearing words they understand, suggesting cognitive processing. Brachycephalic dogs with shorter muzzles tilt less. Nose length blocks view to human mouth movements, so tilt compensates in long snouts. Essentially, tilting sharpens hearing and sight plus triggers owner affection, a social win. Question 36. Could a T-Rex outrun a human? Biomechanical models using muscle mass and trackway spacing cap T-Rex top speed at 1827 kph, fast jog for humans. Above that, bone stress would shatter its legs. Sprinter Usain Bolt hits 44 km per h. Average adult manages 24 km per h over 30 dash. So you might escape if you're Olympic level fast, otherwise you're dino dinner. Question 37. Do astronauts get taller in space? Yes, spinal discs decompress without gravity, lengthening astronauts by 2-3 centimeters. Stretch peaks on day 2, then stabilizes. Height returns to normal within a week of landing. Some report back ache as discs recompress. NASA suits include torso length adjusters for EVA fit, so space gives a temporary growth spurt. Enjoy while it lasts. Question 38. Why is yawning contagious? Yawning may cool an overheating brain. Contagious yawns correlate with empathy. Mirror neuron circuits in the anterior insula light up when seeing others yawn. Dogs catch yawns from owners, suggesting cross-species empathy. Psychopaths yawn less contagiously, adding evidence it's social thermoregulation, not oxygen depletion. Reading this likely makes you yawn. Did it work? Question 39. How long can a person hold their breath? Average untrained adult, 45-90 seconds. Record, static apnea with oxygen prep, is 24 minutes 37 s. Budimir Sobat, 2021. Fetuses produce protective dive reflex. Free divers train CO2 tolerance and spleen blood dump. After 3 minutes, oxygen drop causes potential blackout. Brain damage risk starts approximately 6 min. So superhero 10-minute underwater escapes? Fiction. Question 40. Why do some people sneeze when they look at bright light? Called the photic sneeze reflex, ACU syndrome, it affects approximately 25% of humans. Bright light overstimulates optic nerve. Crosstalk with trigeminal nerve activates sneeze center. Gene ZB2 variation linked to trait. Reflex strength runs in families, confirming heredity. Sunglasses can block the surprise sun sneeze at football games. Question 41. Would a boomerang work in zero gravity? A boomerang relies on differential airspeed over spinning wings to generate lift and curved flight. Microgravity flights still contain air, so astronauts on ISS tossed a carbon fiber boomerang, returning perfectly to the thrower. In vacuum, it would travel straight like any spinning stick. Gravity irrelevant, atmosphere essential. Question 42. Do sharks sleep? Sharks don't have eyelids, but many enter restful phases. Some benthic species pump water over gills and lie motionless. Fast pelagic sharks exhibit unihemispheric sleep. One brain hemisphere rests while they keep swimming. Tag data shows speed drops, tail beats slow, and sensory processing halves during rest bouts. So yes, sharks nap, but with one eye literally open. Question 43. Why is nothing faster than light? Einstein's special relativity, as objects with mass accelerate, their relativistic mass and required energy skyrockets toward infinity at 299,792 kilometers per s. Only massless photons ride space-time's geometry at light speed. Tachyons remain hypothetical. Warp drives need negative energy. Experiments push particles to 99.999999% C in colliders, yet the last decimal demands infinite power. Light sets the cosmic speed limit baked into space-time math. Question 44. Can hair turn white overnight from stress? Sudden whitening, Canatis subita, isn't pigment loss, but rapid shedding of colored hairs, leaving pre-existing white-gray behind. Extreme stress triggers autoimmune attack on pigment stem cells or causes alopecia areata. Marie Antoinette legend, likely dramatized months-long graying. Hair shafts themselves can't drain melanin overnight, so turned white overnight means hair fell out, not repainted. Question 45. Is it possible to die from drinking too much water? Yes. Water intoxication dilutes blood sodium, hyponatremia, causing brain cells to swell. Marathoners, MDMA users, and radio contest victim Jennifer Strange died after consuming 6 liters in hours. Kidneys, max excretion 0.8 L/hour. Symptoms, headache, confusion, seizures. Balanced electrolytes save lives. Drink to thirst, not gallons on a dare. Question 46. Why do we get brain freeze from ice cream? Sphenopalatine ganglioneuralgia occurs when something icy touches palate, cooling internal carotid artery. To preserve brain temp, nearby cerebral arteries dilate suddenly, raising intracranial pressure, interpreted as forehead pain. Warming palate with tongue or water reverses dilation instantly. So brain freeze is vascular overreaction, not actual freezing. Question 47. Does swallowed chewing gum stay in you 7 years? No. Gum base is indigestible, but gastric motility pushes it through intestines in 1-3 days with other waste. Only giant wads with coins have caused blockages in children. Myth may be started by parents discouraging swallowing. Normal stick exits unnoticed. Question 48. Can humans see ultraviolet? Lens and cornea filter UV. Cataract patients with lens removed report seeing UV as whitish violet when tested, called aphakic vision. B-vision cameras show UV patterns on flowers invisible to most of us, so our retinas can detect UV, but ocular filters block it, unless surgery or genetic mutation removes the shield. Question 49. Why don't birds get shocked on power lines? Electricity flows along path of least resistance between different potentials. A bird touching only one wire stays at uniform potential, no current through body. If it contacts another wire or a grounded pole simultaneously, zap. Large raptors die this way. Power companies add perch guards and line spacing. Question 50. Could a coin land on its edge and stay forever? Probability is tiny. 1 in 6,000 tosses, and edge surfaces uneven. Micro vibrations topple it. Vacuum, vibration-isolated table, and perfectly milled edge can keep coin balanced for days, but air currents eventually win. Physics says perpetual edge stand needs ideal flat coin on friction-infinite surface, unreal. So yes for seconds, no for eternity. Question 51. Why do fingertips wrinkle in water? Wrinkling is active. Autonomic nerves constrict blood vessels, creating valleys in skin to improve grip on wet objects. People with nerve damage don't wrinkle. Evolutionary advantage. Better fruit picking in rain. Effect peaks after 10 minutes, soak and reverses in 30 minutes. Your skin's anti-slip tire treads. Question 52. Can sunlight and a mirror melt glass? Concentrating sunlight with parabolic mirrors can exceed 1000 degrees C. Soda-lime glass softens at 700 degrees Celsius, melts at 400 degrees Celsius. Solar furnaces using thousands of mirrors melt silica easily. Odeyo, France reaches 500 degrees Celsius. A single shaving mirror won't focus enough. Fresnel lens from old TV can. So yes, with hefty mirror power. Question 53. Do bees die after they sting? Honeybee workers have barbed stingers that lodge in thick mammal skin. When flying off, they rip out abdomen, dying within minutes. Against other insects, stinger pulls free, so bee survives. Wasps and hornets have smooth stingers, can sting repeatedly. Queen bees have smooth stingers, but rarely leave hive. So death is self-sacrifice unique to workers versus mammals. Question 54. Why do we dream? Dreaming occurs mainly during REM, when limbic emotion centers light up and prefrontal logic areas quiet. Theories: memory consolidation, replaying neural patterns to store long-term, threat simulation, practicing danger response, and emotional regulation. fMRI reveals dreams rehearse recent learning networks. Lucid dreamers activate prefrontal cortex mid-REM, proving controllable consciousness states. Final answer: brain housekeeping plus sandbox testing. Question 55. Could Earth fit inside Jupiter's Great Red Spot? Yes, Spot's current diameter approximately 14,000 km. Earth's is 12,742 kilometers. In 1880, it spanned 40,000 km. Storm depth reaches 300 kilometers. Winds 430 kilometers per H Voyager probes measured lightning larger than terrestrial superbolts. Earth would fit with room for moons, though crushing pressure and hydrogen storms make it academic. Question 56. Are there more trees on Earth or stars in the Milky Way? Latest satellite and ground survey, 2015, estimates 3.04 trillion trees. Milky Way holds 100-400 billion stars, so trees outnumber stars roughly 10-1. Logging cuts 15 billion yearly, plantings add 5 billion. At current loss, trees drop below stars in 2200s, plant a sapling. Question 57. Can sound travel in space? Not in vacuum. However, magnetospheric plasma around Earth carries pressure waves. Instruments convert them to audio called chorus. Inside nebulae or dense Jupiter atmosphere, sound propagates but at very low frequencies. So near perfect vacuum equals silence. Space agencies sonify data for us to hear. Question 58. Why is ketchup hard to pour, then gushes out? Ketchup is a non-Newtonian fluid, shear thinning. At rest, its viscosity is 50,000x water. When shaken, tomato particles align, thinning to 200x water, so sudden gush. Glass bottles need 0.1 m per s-tap. Heinz engineers embossed 57 sweet spot where shear best transmits. Squeeze bottles sidestep physics by using elastic walls. Question 59. How many people have walked on the moon? 12 astronauts, all Apollo 11-17 missions, 1969-72. Last footsteps, Gene Cernan, December 14th, 1972. NASA's Artemis program aims to add number 13 and 14, including first woman, by late 2026. So far, moonwalkers equal one soccer team plus a sub. Question 60. Can humans sense Earth's magnetic field? Humans lack magnetite bird-style navigation, but 2019 Caltech EEG study showed alpha rhythms dropped when participants sat in darkness while geomagnetic field rotated. Brain registered change, though no conscious sense. Hypothesis: cryptochrome proteins in retina may respond quantum mechanically. Practical navigation? Not yet. Subconscious compass? Possibly.